Hello, class. So we recently covered the topic of radicals. We went through addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and also equations. And now we're moving on to our next topic, which is Pythagorean theorem. So for us to use the Pythagorean theorem, we need to have a right angle triangle, meaning one of the angles within the triangle has to be 90 degree. And yeah, so the two sides that touched our right angle, our 90-degree angle, are what we call legs. And the side that's opposite of our right angle is what we call hypotenuse. And hypotenuse is the longest side of the triangle. And to denote our Pythagorean theorem, we use the equation a squared plus b squared equals c squared, where a and b are our legs and c is our hypotenuse. You can also refer it to as leg squared plus leg squared equals hypotenuse squared, or opposite square plus adjacent square equals hypotenuse square. Adjacent meaning it's right next to it. Okay, so let's look at the questions that we have here. So to solve it, usually you have 3 steps. The first step is to mark your legs and hypotenuse. And 2 is to substitute into a squared plus b squared equals c squared. And 3 is to solve the missing side. So let's look at how it will actually play out in action. So our first step is to actually pinpoint where our right angle is. So right here, our right angle is actually here. So the two sides that touch the right angle would be our legs. So right here we have 4 and 8 as our legs. So we can write it in our equation. So let's just say 4 is our A, B is our B, 8 is our B, and then the other side would be our C. So if we put it into the formula, A squared plus B squared equals C squared, and we want to sub in the number. A is 4, so 4 squared plus our 8 is B, 8 squared equals C squared. So we would have 4 squared is 16, 8 squared is 64 equals C squared. And remember to get rid of our square root, our square, we want to put our radical around it so it cancels out. So we have our square root both sides. So we cancel out the square, and we should have c equals square root of 80. You can plug it into this decimal or your calculator, but square root of 80 should give you 8.944. You want 3 significant numbers, so you would get 8.94. And that's how you solve this problem. Let's now look at our second example. Again, first step is to find out where your right angle is. It's right here. It means that this side and this side are our legs. So let's call this A, and this side B, and this side would naturally be our C, right? So let's use your formula again. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. And plug in the numbers that we know. 3.9 squared plus B squared equals 11 squared. 3.9 squared, you put it in your calculator, you should get 15.21. This is that. B is our unknown number. 11 squared would be 121. So you want to subtract 15.21 on both sides because we want to single out our B. So we have B squared equals, you can use your calculator, 121 minus 15.21 should give you 105.79. You want to square root both sides to get rid of the exponent. So square root, so this cancel. And you should arrive at B equals square root of 105.79. Plug it into decimal or your calculator, you would get 10.79. 285. You want to have at least 2 decimal points, so you do your rounding and you get 10.29 as your final answer. So this goes to that goes to this, and that's how you solve our first 2 questions. All right, our second set of questions requires us to plot our points. So after you plot out your points, you can draw the triangle, and then you want to repeat what we did. We want to mark our legs, substitute into a squared plus b squared equals c squared, and then you want to solve for the missing side. So the last step 3, 4, and 5 are what we did with first and second example. Okay, so let's plot. Remember, the first number is our x, and then the second number is our y, and we can go from there. So we have 2x right here, and then we're going to go down 3, 1, 2, 3. So we arrive at this point. So let's write it down, 2, -3. And then our second point is -5 for our y. So you want for our x. So you want to go that way. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right here. Y is 0, so we just color this in. And this would be -5 and 0. I'm using a ruler because I can't draw a straight line. So this is our hypotenuse, and I'm about to show you why this is a hypotenuse. Let's use blue. Okay, this color is bright. So this side and this side are our legs, because this is a 90-degree angle. So this is our right angle. So the 2 sides that touch our right angles, right? Our right angle are our legs, A and B. Okay, so we actually can find out our A and B based on our points, right? So look at B first. We went down 3 in the Y, so our vertical line is actually 3. So here, our B is just 3, or you can just count 1, 2, and 3, right? Y, our A is a little bit trickier. I'm going to give you 2 numbers. So from here to here is 5, right? We move 5 to the left. So we know that this first part, we have 5. And then we have a second part from here to here, right? This part is 2, because our number is 2 here, right? So it's 2. So we want to add them together. So we have 5 plus 2, which gives us 7. So our side 8 is 7. So now we found out our A and B, we can calculate for C. So let's write down a formula. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Equals C squared. And when I plug in our A, as we found out, was 7. B is 3. C is what we're trying to find out. 79 is 7 squared. So we have 7 squared plus 3 squared is 9 equals C squared. And then I'm going to go to here, and we're going to have 49 plus 9 will give you 58 equals C squared. Remember that you want to square root both sides to get rid of the square. So we will arrive at C equals square root of 58. Plug it into decimal or your calculator. You should get 7.615. Rounded to 3 significant number, 7.62. And that's how you get the answer. Okay, so let's look at our second example of graphing. Again, -1 and 2. So our x is -1, so we're here. And then we want to go up to 1, 2. So we're right here. That's our first point, -1 and 2. Our second point is -3. So x, you want to go 3. So 1, 2, 3, right here. And you want to go up 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's right here. So this is our hypotenuse. And then write it down. And that's our C. And then this side and this side are our, this side is A, or you can call it B anyway. A and B, because our right angle is right here. So we have A and B. Another way to calculate it, so from here, we have -1 and sorry, I forgot to write it down, -3 and 4. So we can calculate it. Our B would be -1 minus -3, right? So -1 minus -3. Our B, I'm going to write it right here. B equals -1 minus -3, which would give you 2. And then our A is 2 minus 4 is -2. But because we're talking about distance, we don't have a negative distance. We'll have to use our absolute value, which would give us 2. So that's a more numeric way of counting and calculating for our A and B. So now that we have A and B, we can plug it into our equation. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. So we have A is 2, so 2 squared plus B is also 2. 2 squared equals C squared. So we would have 4 plus 4 equals C squared. And then we calculated, it would be 8 equals C squared. You want to get rid of the square, so we square root both sides. So we will arrive at C equals square root of 8. Plug it into your calculator. You should get 2.828 rounded to 3 significant numbers. So you would end up with 2.83. And that is how you solve Pythagorean theorem using graphing and plotting.